Bound by love and torn by secrets, the unfolding saga. For over 3 decades, Tanya had been the center of her husband's world, and he treated her like a princess ever since they got married. Tanya held a special place in her husband's heart, and his love and attention towards her never wavered. After a brief silence, Tanya addressed her son, Zachary, expressing her concerns about his behavior towards his wife, Serenity. "What? Are you afraid I'll criticize your wife for leaving the cooking to you while she does nothing?" Tanya began, "I mean, you just got back from a business trip and recovered from a long cold. She shouldn't have let you work in the kitchen." Zachary's face fell, feeling slightly defensive about his actions. "I'm not saying you can't dote on your wife," Tanya continued, "but don't do it excessively and spoil her. She'll become egoistic and willful. What if it gives her a reason to do as she pleases and stir trouble for you?" Tanya was concerned that Serenity, being at a higher social standing now, might become presumptuous and cause problems for Zachary. She feared that excessive pampering might lead to Serenity taking advantage of the situation and disregarding Zachary's feelings. Serenity would undoubtedly be thrilled to find out she was living a real-life Cinderella story, with a wealthy and caring husband. However, Tanya's primary concern was ensuring that Serenity did not overstep her boundaries due to her newfound position, leaving Zachary to handle any potential consequences. Zachary's face showed disappointment at his mother's words. "Fine, fine. I won't talk ill about Serenity," Tanya conceded, not wanting to upset her son further. "Look at you. I'm just bringing a few points to your attention. It's not like I'm saying she's acting this way now, but you're already giving me an attitude. Look at your long face." Zachary responded, defending his wife. "Mom, you haven't spent much time with Seren, so you don't know her. Still, you can trust your son's judgment. You should know that Seren is no bully." Despite Tanya's initial disapproval of Serenity, she had to admit that she hadn't spent enough time with her daughter-in-law to truly understand her. She acknowledged that she should trust Zachary's judgment in choosing a life partner. Both sisters, Serenity and Liberty, had been living a discreet life since they reunited with their wealthy and powerful aunt, Mrs. Stone. However, only those in higher society knew the truth about their background. The outside world remained unaware of their real identity. The Browns, who had been part of the deception, were now facing the consequences of their actions. They would soon lose their jobs and have to deal with the fallout of their deceit. "I believe you. I promise I won't bring it up again," Tanya assured Zachary, dropping the subject to avoid further conflict. Changing the topic, Tanya noticed that Zachary seemed to have gained weight. "You're looking well. It seems you're putting on some weight. Serenity must have taken great care of you," she said. Zachary was slightly puzzled by his mother's remark. "Mom, are you sure I'm putting on weight?" he asked. Tanya explained, "It's been a while since I saw you. I feel you gained some pounds." "So you didn't? I guess my eyesight must be failing me." Serenity, who had entered the house carrying a bag of shrimp, overheard the last part of her mother-in-law's remark. She couldn't help but recall a previous encounter when she had gone shopping with Tanya, who had looked at her as if she didn't know her at all. Later, Zachary explained that his mother had poor eyesight. With a smile, Serenity presented the bag of live shrimp to Zachary, who then took it from her and examined the large shrimp. They were going to be a delicious addition to their meal. Zachary then headed to the kitchen, and Serenity decided to keep Tanya company in the living room. She noticed that there was no glass of water on the coffee table for Tanya, so she quickly poured one for her. Serenity turned on the TV, creating a comfortable atmosphere for their conversation. "Have a seat, Mom. I'll help out in the kitchen," Serenity offered. Tanya nodded, appreciating Serenity's consideration. "Go on. I'm not an outsider. You don't have to tend to me," she replied. Serenity understood the importance of hospitality and treating guests well, even if it was her mother-in-law. Her willingness to help in the kitchen seemed to soften Tanya's disapproval towards her. Around 10 minutes later, Tanya found herself seated at the dinner table, even though she had already eaten her own meal. She couldn't refuse her son and daughter-in-law's invitation, especially when Zachary had put so much effort into cooking. "Mom, try some of Zachary's cooking," Serenity insisted with a smile, serving Tanya the dishes and encouraging her to taste the food. Tanya watched as her son put on disposable gloves to peel the shrimp, ensuring that the shelled shrimp wouldn't find its way to her plate. Tanya didn't know how to feel about this gesture, as she reminisced about the times when her husband had showered her with attention and care. Tanya felt a sense of unease seeing how thoughtful her son, Zachary, was towards her daughter-in-law, Serenity. She couldn't help but think that Serenity showed more consideration than Zachary did. As they sat at the dinner table, Serenity served Tanya some food, and she took a bite, trying to figure out how to express her thoughts honestly. After contemplating for a moment, Tanya decided to be truthful. "Zach can't beat Serenity," Tanya admitted. "You should spend some time in the kitchen and cook for Serenity more often. It could help the two of you bond too. But I know you're usually busy at work." Serenity reassured her, "Don't worry, Mom. I won't let Zachary into the kitchen during workdays." Tanya was pleased with Serenity's understanding and acceptance of the family's dynamics. Zachary then offered Tanya some shrimp, but she declined, explaining that she had already eaten dinner and only tasted the food to judge who was the better cook between Zachary and Serenity. After Tanya left the dining room, Zachary put a plate of shelled shrimp in front of Serenity, urging her to eat. He playfully made eyes at her, surprising Serenity with his animated expressions, which she hadn't seen before. Zachary assured her that his mother wouldn't peek at them, mentioning that Nana might be more intrusive, but his mother had been brought up to respect privacy. Trying to change the topic, Zachary asked Serenity if she still felt sore, to which she blushed and whispered for him to behave as they were having dinner. He lightly teased her with his lips and tongue, but she quickly fed him some food to distract him. He complimented her, saying she was a feast for the eyes, and watching her gave him a good appetite. He praised her cooking and playfully mentioned that he didn't want his mother to think he was starving her. Zachary cherished their simple and happy life together and hoped that they would continue to have a sweet and joyful relationship, just like his parents, who were still going strong all these years. After dinner, Zachary cleared the table while Serenity tidied up, and then Serenity sat with her mother-in-law, Tanya. Serenity suggested that Tanya stay the night, but Tanya declined, explaining that her husband felt uncomfortable when she wasn't at home with him. Serenity admired her in-law's strong relationship and loyalty to each other over the decades. Serenity mentioned that she didn't know Zachary had bought the villa and suggested that Tanya and her husband move in with them. However, Tanya thought it might not be a good idea as Zachary preferred to have their own space, and living together might lead to unnecessary tensions and scrutiny. When Tanya was about to leave, she asked Zachary if he planned to spend the rest of his life with Serenity. Tanya believed Serenity needed some lessons in etiquette to represent the York family well at social events. Zachary asked for specifics, but Tanya found it challenging to pinpoint any particular flaw in Serenity's behavior. Nevertheless, Tanya promised to help Serenity improve her presentation once Zachary revealed his true identity to her. Tanya advised Zachary not to be intimate with Serenity if he was still unsure about their future together. She suggested that 3 months should be enough to assess Serenity's character, given that she didn't know about Zachary's true identity. Tanya also shared that Nana, Zachary's grandmother, believed in the York family's values and their aversion to divorce. Zachary was resolute in having Serenity as his wife and affirmed his commitment to her. Tanya observed her son with a penetrating gaze before finally speaking up. "You are in charge of your own life, and I can only offer some advice. I should head back now before your father worries. Will you and Saren be coming home for New Year's?" Zachary retorted, "Didn't Nana tell you? We'll be spending New Year's at the old residence." "The old residence, you mean Whitmore Mansion. No wonder Nana has been visiting there lately," Tanya replied, acknowledging their plans. Curious about how long the act would continue, Tanya probed, to which Zachary confidently responded, "I've thought it through, Mom. I know what I'm doing. When the time is right, I'll let the whole of Wilkespoon know about my marriage to Saren. We'll start planning the wedding." Though Zachary envisioned a perfect ending, he was well aware that reality could take unpredictable turns. Tanya said her goodbyes, expressing concern for her daughter-in-law. Zachary thanked her for not finding faults with Serenity. Poking fun at her son's gratitude, Tanya playfully remarked, "Why are you thanking me? I just want you to be happy." "I can tolerate Serenity's flaws as long as she makes you happy. If I ever have concerns, I'll address them gently without being overly critical." Zachary felt a sense of warmth for his mother's understanding and love. However, Tanya did notice that their social standings weren't equal, and she hoped Serenity would improve herself by learning etiquettes and acquiring new skills. With goodbyes exchanged, Tanya drove away, leaving Zachary to reflect on the conversation. Soon, his phone rang again, and he saw that Clive was calling. Irritated by the timing, he picked up the call, realizing Clive had interrupted him while he was with Serenity. Annoyed, Zachary questioned Clive, "What do you want?" Clive, Serenity's cousin, invited him to the Grand Hotel at midnight. Zachary hesitated, unsure if he should go. Clive playfully teased, "Are you scared to see me?" "Fine, I'll see you there," Zachary grumbled, frustrated that he had to meet Serenity's cousin under these circumstances. On the other end of the line, Clive bluntly threatened, "If I don't see you at the Grand Hotel, I'll reveal to Serenity who you really are, including the fact that you're the great Mr. York." Annoyed by Clive's audacity, Zachary retorted, "I'll be there. Just wait for me." Clive asserted his authority as the older cousin, saying, "Shouldn't you be waiting for me? I'm older than you." Zachary coldly responded, "You own the Grand Hotel, so you can be there anytime. Change the location to the Wiltspoon Hotel, and I'll welcome you early in the presidential suite." Clive questioned Zachary's motives, asking if he was scared and guilty, which made Zachary even more irritated. They exchanged banter, with Clive threatening to pick on Zachary in front of Serenity and Zachary defending his position as the best man in Wiltspoon. Zachary then ended the call, expressing his need to attend to his wife. However, Clive's murmurs about affairs were overheard by Alice, his wife, as she came out of the bathroom. She was already upset with Clive for falling asleep during their movie date. Alice confronted Clive, accusing him of having an affair and questioning if he swung both ways. Clive was taken aback and tried to explain that he was only on the phone with Zachary. However, Alice remained doubtful and frustrated with the changes in their relationship after marriage. Clive shared the details of his phone conversation with Zachary with his wife, reassuring her that there was no reason to doubt his fidelity. Meanwhile, Zachary kept the meeting with Clive a secret from Serenity. After spending some quality time with his wife watching TV, Zachary noticed that Serenity was getting tired and decided to carry her to bed. They chatted for a while before she drifted off to sleep. Zachary kissed her goodnight and left the room quietly. Zachary called his chauffeur and security detail to meet him at the Grand Hotel, where Clive had asked him to come. He arrived at the hotel right on time and was greeted by his bodyguards. They made their way to the top floor, where Clive's presidential suite was located. Upon reaching the suite, they were stopped by two of Clive's bodyguards. They informed Zachary that Clive considered this their first meeting as family, so proper etiquette needed to be observed. Zachary was surprised to learn that Clive saw himself as Serenity's cousin, and he realized it would be impolite to arrive empty-handed. Zachary instructed one of his security personnel, Sam, to check if any shops were open at that hour to buy a gift for Clive. He wanted to make sure he had something to offer his wife's family, even though he had known Clive for years. Sam went on the search for a gift, while Zachary waited anxiously, hoping that Clive would understand his sincere intentions despite the unexpected situation. "Mr. York," the bodyguard spoke up once more, grabbing Zachary's attention. The bodyguard conveyed Clive's message, stating that Zachary needed to get the gift himself to show sincerity and respect. If he sent his bodyguards to do it, it would be seen as a lack of love and respect for Serenity. Clive's tactic infuriated Zachary, but he couldn't underestimate the Stones, especially considering the family ties between Serenity and Mrs. Stone. Reluctantly, Zachary left to find a gift for Clive, leading his security team into a 24/7 convenience store. They quickly cleared the shelves of various items, leaving the store employee puzzled and even a bit suspicious. 20 minutes later, Zachary returned with bags full of items and dropped them on the coffee table, feeling annoyed by Clive's nonchalant demeanor. He made his point by piling the rest of the bags around the suite, forming quite a heap of stuff. As Zachary took a seat opposite Clive, he coldly asked if that was enough respect for him. Clive lowered the TV volume and rummaged through the items, finding faults with each one. He mocked Zachary's choices and expressed disappointment, even tossing a pack of sanitary pads at him. Zachary managed to deflect most of them, but one pack ended up in his arms, leaving him exasperated by Clive's relentless teasing. "Zachary, are these what you're giving me as gifts?" Clive taunted, finding amusement in the situation. Zachary couldn't hide his embarrassment when he saw the pack of sanitary pads among the items he brought back from the convenience store. Clive teased him relentlessly, causing Zachary to feel awkward and frustrated, something he had never experienced in all their years of fighting. Clive's laughter seemed never-ending, and Zachary wanted to strangle him for it. The two continued their banter, with Clive joking about Zachary inheriting his family fortune and Zachary retorting in kind. When Clive offered Zachary some strong tea, he declined, knowing it would disrupt his sleep. He preferred to spend the night with Serenity instead. Clive questioned why Zachary kept his identity a secret from Serenity, suspecting it was to protect his wealth. Zachary avoided giving a direct answer and urged Clive to get to the point, as he wanted to be with Serenity on their wedding night. Clive then expressed concern for Elisa's feelings, warning Zachary to stay away from her when he visited Clive's parents with Serenity. Clive believed Elisa was still in love with Zachary, and if she found out about their marriage, it would hurt her. Zachary understood Clive's warning without the need for further explanation. Zachary remained silent for a while before grumbling, "You should be the one handling Elisa's situation. I can't be the one to push her away." Clive assured him, "Don't worry, I'll make arrangements and let you know when it's safe to visit. My parents will also be informed." Zachary agreed with the plan. He didn't want Elisa to find out about him and Serenity yet, as they were still in the early stages of their relationship. Clive inquired about Zachary's plans before New Year's, as his office would be closed around Christmas Eve. Zachary explained that he would be busy with work and the company's annual dinner, followed by a trip to Annenberg for a business associate's wedding. Clive expressed envy over Zachary's connections and luck, to which Zachary humbly replied that fate played a role in their lives. Zachary planned to keep Serenity behind the scenes during the company's annual dinner and reveal her afterward to avoid potential complications. He would have to inform Serenity about the business trip to Annenberg. After a moment of silence, Clive acknowledged Zachary's genuine feelings for Serenity and told him to head home. They both walked to the lift without exchanging any further words. Clive and Zachary's bodyguards followed quietly behind, their silent presence giving an eerie atmosphere. Just before entering the lift, Clive stopped and spoke to Zachary in a hushed tone. "Stop stealing my business," Clive said firmly. Zachary shrugged casually, replying, "Business is business. Clients can change their minds, and Stone Group couldn't convince them to choose otherwise. Don't mix personal feelings with business." Amused, Clive complimented Zachary's audacity, but the topic quickly shifted to Clive's family planning. Zachary asked about having a baby, suggesting a specialist if needed. Clive assured him that they were healthy and in no hurry to have a child, as they wanted to enjoy each other's company for a few more years. As Zachary stepped into his private lift, Clive shouted after him, annoyed by his audacity and that he had used his personal lift without permission. Clive returned home and discussed the idea of having a baby with his wife, Alice. Despite enjoying their married life, they realized they weren't getting any younger and decided to seriously consider starting a family. Meanwhile, Zachary returned home to find Serenity asleep. Overcome with desire, he couldn't resist waking her for another intimate encounter. The next morning, Serenity woke up feeling uncertain if it had been a dream or if her husband had taken advantage of her while she slept. With Mrs. Lane not around, Serenity made breakfast for Zachary when she heard the doorbell ring. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Voice Novel, and follow Voice Novel on Facebook, so you will get notified whenever a new video is uploaded. Thank you.